Oh my God, Shawn Graham, how are you? I'm so glad to be with you today.
I am wonderful, Tracy. It is a pleasure, and I am loving your background. Oh,
My
it's
garden,
natural.
my garden, yes. So we've been talking, and then we decided we should probably start this recording. So let's get to it, my darling. Are you
Yes,
ready?
ma'am. Yes,
So
ma'am.
I brought you here today to talk about a topic um, related to this series I've been leading. But first, I want people to just get to know you a little bit. So, what would you like to share? What do you think everyone should know about you?
People should know that I am a root for the underdog kind of person. I love to see people who have been counted out just win. And I have always been that way.
Mm.
Yeah, I love to see people win once, because there are so many instances people are counted out. Even when I'm watching, if I don't have a particular team, if I'm watching football or basketball, and that team that everyone is always rooting for, I'm going to root for the other team because people have counted them out. And it's the same with life and people who are trying to make changes in their life, or people are saying negative things about someone. I think, it's just to understand those individuals, everyone has a story. And, once you really truly hear their story, I'm going to root for you.
I love that. That is beautiful. So,
Thank you.
tell us one thing about you that most people wouldn't expect to be true.
Um, I think people, since I'm a CPA, CFO, accountant, the perception has been that for people who know me professionally, they think I'm an introvert.
Mm.
But once they get to know me personally, I am very much outgoing. I am silly. I love cracking jokes. I love to dance. I love to cut up. And even when I was younger, I was very creative before I started to pursue accounting. People would be surprised to hear that I was active in the arts. I went to the Harlem School of the Arts for ballet. I don't know ballet, but I took some classes, but I used to African dance. I would travel doing African dance around the city. I took drama class in high school, dance class in both high school and college. So there's an entire creative side. I used to love to write poetry, short stories. And I think that part of me, people would never expect that part of me to be true.
That was fascinating. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. That was great. Now, this series is called Achieving Success in Business and in Life.
Okay.
So, how do you define success? And what does achieving success in business and in life, what does that mean to you?
Well, success is obviously different for everybody. I've never equated success with titles or for money. And even in my spiritual life, I've never prayed for material things. I've always prayed for that, God, please give me good health. Please wake me up in the morning and give me the health to make a difference in other lives, the lives of other people, or to get up and go to work every day. So for me, success is just making a positive difference in the lives of others.
Oh, I love it. And if you think about achieving success in business and in life, is it the same thing or is there some other
It's the same,
variation
it's
with
the
that?
same thing for me because even in my existing role, and I'll give you an example, in my CFO role, I have a team of accountants and I'm also over IT. And so I have like my most senior person who works with me, and I motivate my entire team. I set goals for my entire team and I make sure that they have the roles. I make sure that they have the tools to be successful in their roles. So my most senior person, my job is to prepare her for the CFO seat. And so I don't have any job insecurities. You know what I'm saying? So for me, helping them win, helping them be successful, it's my job is to help them be successful and to prepare them to grow in their roles. So that's what I do personally. That's what I do professionally. I mentor young people. I'm active in the community. So for me, that to me is just success, personally and professionally, just making that difference in the lives of other people, because that's my feel good moments, regardless of whatever I've acquired. Seeing other people succeed to me is what it's all about.
I love that. Are we loving our new CEO, y'all? Yes, I love it. So now we brought you here today to talk about a topic. It's successfully leading yourself and others with joy and intention in challenging times. And this is one of many topics, but I really wanted to focus on this idea of leadership. And so I didn't start with leading others. And typically that's what you think about when you think about leadership. But I started with successfully leading yourself and others. So when you think about leading yourself, what does that mean to you?
For leading myself was really learning from my mistakes, utilizing wisdom, and self-control. When I think back, even as, 5 years ago, when I think about where I was and who I was 5 years ago, I look at the amount of growth over the years, and which has enabled me to do a better job being a leader. Full transparency, I used to be a hothead. I would go from 0 to 100 quick. But when you grow, when you exercise wisdom, when you exercise that self-control, it makes a difference, because if I'm not able to do that, I cannot even begin to lead anyone unless I check myself. So, over the years, I've learned to take a couple of steps back and critique myself. And I think about, okay, should I have said that? What should I have done differently, or could I do something differently? So I think it's always a matter of just taking a couple of steps back and just checking myself.
I love it. I love it. I agree. When I think about leading yourself, it's how you show up. And so I appreciate that. I appreciate you sharing your journey. And it's kind of something we all can continue to do. Now, when I think about leading others, do you have any success strategies that you would share on how you lead others?
There's a few things that I do. Number one, I try to inspire them. And the number one thing that I like to do is to hear people. I think it's important that you hear people, you just not just listening, but truly hearing them, and having a high level of emotional intelligence, being able to effectively communicate with other people. You can't communicate with everyone the same way. And those are some of the tools that I use when I lead other people, because, I look at my team, I look at the entire organization, the entire, even looking at corporate headquarters. When I break it down by departments or even individuals, everyone has their own communication style. Everyone works differently. Everyone receives information differently. So, I cannot take the same approach when I'm leading any of the teams within the organization. And it's no differently like with your children. You can love your children equally, but you're going to love your children differently, because your children are going to have different needs. So you have to do the same thing when you're leading people within your own organization.
I love that. That is beautiful.
Thank you, Tracy.
Okay, now I'm just going to repeat what we said we were focused on today. Successfully leading yourself and others with joy and intention in challenging times. Now, when you think about leading with joy and intention, honestly, and doing it in challenging times, you seem to be the model of that, because you just you have 2 executive roles. You're working as interim chief executive officer. You're still the CFO of a national organization during the busiest time of the year, during our national conference. One might say these are challenging times, at least definitely a lot going on, but you show up with grace. You show up with all type of joy. When we talk, you're very intentional about what you want to accomplish. So what advice would you share about people with others about how you're able to do that?
Well, a few things, just through life experiences, I realized that you have to, number one, have balance. Number two, you have to choose your battles. Number three, there's always someone that's worse off than you are. And going through this pandemic, there are so many people who have lost their lives. I'm just grateful to be breathing, seriously. When you think about, what the market is looking like, when you think about the social justice, everything that's going on out there going on with people of color. When I look back, I consider myself blessed, so I don't look at it as, okay, I have these 2 roles, it's challenging. It's actually a blessing. Yes, did I ever want to be a CEO? At some point in my life, yes. Was I expecting this role to be interim? I wasn't expecting this at all, but I do believe it's by design. So I have to receive it and rise to the occasion. And then when I look at people like you, Tracy, and so many of the other chapter presidents and so many other people who are volunteering their time, I'm getting paid to do this. You know what I'm saying? So I have nothing to complain about. So I am going to take this and run with it because, people like you and so many of the others who are volunteering their time, who are passionate about this organization, that's the least that I can do is to show up and to show up with a smile on my face.
That is so beautiful. You really have been very consistent. So thank you.
Thank you.
You leading with joy and intention. I love that. Now I know we're kind of short on time today. So you agreed for us to do some future conversations. So I'm just gonna ask you to help me close this conversation out as we focus on the conference. So tell me a little bit about what you're most excited about going into the conference and what people can look forward to going into the conference.
Well, number one, while I've experienced conference last year at hybrid, this will be my first 100% in-person conference with National Black MBA Association. And one of the other amazing things about the conference, which I have not mentioned, is that we are planning on premiering the National Black MBA documentary. This organization is 52 years old. We have legacy leaders who are still involved with this organization 52 years later, and they are still meeting on a monthly and on a quarterly basis. They are still so engaged and still so involved, and they made a lot of sacrifices. So just knowing that we're doing a documentary. Additionally, there are so many other events that we were not able to do last year, like we're bringing back the MBA Live, we're bringing back the Impact Awards. Again, there are so many great things about this conference that I'm excited about, the panel discussions and just seeing, young Black people walk through the Career Expo. We're almost by the time conference rolls around, we're almost sold out of exhibit space.
Wow.
So, there's a lot of opportunities. Yes, there are a lot of opportunities out there with, the corporate partners, who will be at the exhibits this year to be conducting interviews and speaking to the young people, young and some of our seasoned professionals. Yes. There are a lot of opportunities out there that we'll be providing with our corporate partners during the exhibit throughout this year.
I love it. You are excited about it. I am too.
Yes,
I cannot wait. So what do you think about, this conference being in Atlanta, Chocolate City? I mean, that excites a lot of people. Is there anything special we can be looking for? I mean, your national headquarters is there. That adds another dynamic to the process as well. Just the location. That's exciting. The weather is going to be amazing in October. Amazing.
The weather is amazing. And, Atlanta is known as the Black Mecca. There's a lot of successful Black people. There are a lot of Black-owned businesses in Atlanta. A lot of Black politicians in Atlanta. It's just a feel good. When I relocated to Atlanta from New York City, I was just in awe of all the Black people who are doing their thing in Atlanta because I haven't experienced that. And even though I come from a major city, it was very diverse. But, here in Atlanta, yes, Atlanta's diverse as well, but you get up close and personal views of people who are successful here. You have the Tyler Perry Studios here. There's a lot of not just entertainment, but even in the tech space, this has become the tech hub of the South. So Atlanta has so many great things to offer just in general.
I love it. I have two last questions related to the conference, and then we're gonna reconnect another time. So as it relates to the conference, the theme for the conference this year is a promise kept. What does that mean to you, and why was it so important that we add that as a part of the message for this year's conference and for this year?
Well, I'm going to go back again to the legacy leaders. So when you think about a promise is like, to make a pledge or to bring about or to provide, just to make that commitment, and when you think about the mission statement of the organization, it's to lead in the creation of educational, wealth building, and growth opportunities for those historically underrepresented, even though I say systemically included, but excluded, but I digress, historically underrepresented throughout their careers as students, entrepreneurs, and professionals. That was the pledge that started 52 years ago. So we want to make, and so with the documentary coming on board, with those interviews being conducted with a lot of those legacy leaders who started this organization, it's almost like it's full circle. So for me, a promise kept is not just, a phrase that, some of the leadership team came up with a year ago. A promise kept started 52 years ago. So it means that much more to me to have a promise kept, as well as showing that documentary as to where it all began.
Oh my God, that is so beautiful. I'm even more excited now. That is awesome. I have had the opportunity to connect with some of our legacy leaders, and they are phenomenal. So thank you. That makes it
really
even deeper. I mean, a promise kept, like you said, 52 years ago, and here we are, a promise kept. Wow. Absolutely. I can't wait. I love it. Now, this is my last question. As it relates to the future of the organization, you're the current Chief Executive Officer, you're the CFO of the National Black MBA Association. What do you see for our future, and what would you say to members and to sponsors? What would you say about why people should support, be a part of this organization, and what do you see for our future?
To be totally honest, yes, there has been some changes. There have been some changes that people may or may not have been very happy about. But, I will say this, the National Black MBA Association has been around 52 years. The foundation is there. The foundation has always been there. This organization has always been strong. You have a lot of people who are passionate about this organization, who has been volunteering their time with this organization. So regardless of what have been going on at the national headquarters or at the leadership space, the foundation still exists. You have people who have been engaged with this organization for years. Now there's no leadership in place who are pretty much in alignment with a lot of the chapters, a lot of the legacy leaders. And we are really excited about thrusting this organization forward. We want to bring about change. We want to bring about, what's relevant today, what's relevant, and what's going to be relevant in the future. And, and doing more collaboration and collaborations at the chapter level, collaboration with our partners, just enhancing our programs. So there's a lot of changes on the horizon. So I think that, if people, are even considering it, just come back to National Black, stay with National Black. We are about to do the dang on thing.
All right. Shawn Graham, our interim CEO, CFO, the woman in charge. Would you say we about to do the thing? I think you're doing the thing.
We're going to do the dang on thing.
I think you're doing the thing. I think the thing is being done. Oh my God, what a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Such an honor to get to know you. And I look forward to following up with additional conversation. Wow.
And bring some of those lilies to conference that you have grown in your backyard.
Listen, I'm bringing the sunshine for sure. We're bringing it.
I appreciate that. We need all the sunshine we can get.
Thank you so much, Shawn.
Thank you, Tracy. I appreciate it.
Yes.